All right, we're going to lead into this with this, man. This is Beyond the Gamer. Self-interviews are extremely weird because I don't feel like they are as organic as interviews really should be. I feel like an interview should consist of a person being thrown off a little bit. You should know exactly what the baseline is of what you'll be asked, but you should be thrown off a little bit about the energy within the questions. I am sitting right now in an area in Detroit called Joy Road in Southfield. I'm right off exit 9. I'm at the Murder Mac, which ironically I'm right here because I just got some gas, and also this is my first job. My first job at the McDonald's. They called us the Murder Mac because this is a hot zone area. Yeah, man, I was like 13 years old when I got a job here, and it was an interesting time. So this series is Beyond the Gamer. I gave it a crack, posting interviews about people that were gamers and giving you an opportunity to be able to see a little bit more about them. I've got a couple on the channel. You can take a look. This is something that I want to do again. I felt like maybe if I gave you a glimpse of my life and my story, that I could leave from there. So we're going to roll the intro. We're going to get right into this. YouTube, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, TKK. We back with another video. So listen, guys, I'm moving around through Detroit right now, actual Detroit. It's an interesting thing. You have Detroit City, and then you have Metro Detroit. Metro Detroit's going to consist of a few different cities around Detroit. Cities like Southfield, cities like Oak Park. It's a lot of cities that are around Detroit, around the immediate area. Riding over train tracks got me rocking back and forth. But I am actually from the city. Detroit's a beautiful place, man, but like any aggressively urban neighborhood, or as we call it the hood, you got to know how to move. You definitely got to know how to move. And it's easy to be motivated by some of the things that you'll later see as wrong, inspirations. Things like drug dealing, things like robbery, things like, unfortunately, murder, carjacking. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of heinous things that go on in communities like Detroit, all around the world. I'm not even gonna say the United States, man. I was looking at YouTube and seeing some crazy stuff over in London. I'm like, man, they got hoods over there. You know what I'm saying? And it's wild. So one thing about this particular series, and I hope that you guys will give this some watch time, is I'm planning for this to do a couple of different things, right? Like, I've got to be able to shop this channel around to make it what I need it to be. And as you know, it's called All About TKK. So number one, this is going to give you hopefully a little bit of insight as to who I am, the lifestyle that I live now. We all have a beginning. Your beginning could be simply you going to private school, living in a nice, extravagant area that, is low on crime. Your upbringing could be something much more immersive to the hood, but we all start somewhere and we all end somewhere, right? So that's that. You'll get a better shot at knowing just who I am, just a better understanding. It's not going to change anything for the TVs and the technology, but that's not just the basis of the channel. Also, I want to be able to shop this concept of Beyond the Gamer. And if I need to move it to my gaming channel, which if you haven't subscribed to it, I don't have a lot of content on it, but look into the description of this video. please support that by subscribing. You know, and if I need to segregate interviews about gamers there, I will. But I wanted to shop the idea. So this format is going to be me talking to you about who I am, where I come from, and how I got to gaming, because that's what I am at the end of the day. I'm a gamer. You know, I felt like there's not really a place where you can learn a lot about people that are gamers, right? You know about their successes, tournaments they've won, things of that sort, but you know, how do you really get to know more about them? And you know, I started this series with a good friend of mine who I've been knowing now about 22 years, almost 23 years, Brian James. I've got 2 interviews up, one of him, one of Deasha. I've been knowing Deasha all of my YouTube time. This is my second channel. I don't have the first one anymore, so I met him on my first one. So I've been knowing him, you know, since about 2009. But Brian, I've been knowing that man for, you know, the larger part of me being a parent, 22, 23 years. And so I thought we had a good interview. I broke them up in sections and wanted to give people an opportunity to get to know who these people are that are important to me. And so I want to continue to be able to do that. So I'm going to get to a part of Detroit so we can speak a little bit more about who TKK is. All right, so let's start from the beginning. TKK, man, I am influenced from the late 70s, early 80s. I am Detroit, Michigan native. I am simultaneously raised on both east sides and west sides of Detroit. In fact, I am sitting right now in front of old property used to own in the middle right there out of these 3. 9252, 9254 Broad Street. Yeah, man, some good times. You know, this hood over here, this street is called Broad Street. It's this is the Joy Road, Dexter, or Joy Road, Grand River area. Joy Road being the main street, it's right there on the corner. Dexter being about 6 blocks that way, Grand River being about 6 blocks that way. This street we called the Zoo. We called, as in past tense, the Zoo. Yeah, it's wild stuff. A lot of wild things happen around here, but it was really good, you know. So I'm raised, as I said, west side, this area. Also on the east side, I'll probably pull up over there. I got friends that still, you know, live around the area, not necessarily in the same hood, but around the area. So yeah, man, I had the pleasure of experiencing what it was like to have friends and associates at a young age, very young age. I'm talking about as a young jit on both sides of Detroit. Typically, you know, a lot of kids, they are brought up, they're gonna be raised on one area or the next. You know, my parents, they were not married. I am my father's only child and my mother's 6th child, you know what I'm saying? And so, you know, she from the east side, or I won't say from, but, you know, she resided on the east side, and my daddy and, you know what I'm saying, my grandfather, he on the west side. Is the house in the middle is the house my grandfather owned, which we call a 2-family flat. So a lot of these homes are bricks. Detroit's got a very unique architecture about their properties. Not saying all of them are brick, but 2-family flats, 4-family flats. You know, I see it just looking at the hood right now. Across the street, down the street, I see some 4-family flats. You know, that unit was a 2-family. The one to the left of it, 2-family. It's unfortunate both of these homes are just completely just trashed and done. You know, but that's a whole different type of topic of conversation. But yeah, man, so this is where I'm from. I grew up here, and man, my early childhood was a great childhood, man. You know, my grandfather was a business owner. You know, we'll later discuss how I got to the point of gaming, and you know, my grandfather played a tremendous role into my life, so much that at the time that I got to spend with him, I wasn't able to really appreciate who he was and what he stood for, the level of integrity he had. You know, it's what has me acting the way that I do in my current present life. It's what has me developing my young men, my young women, my children, the way that I developed them. And so, yeah, man, you know, I went to school on the east side, and I grew up, most of my friends was on the west side. Like I said, very unique circumstance and situation. But let me go ahead and move around, and we'll continue talking. Right, man, while I'm here, man, I'm gonna go ahead and get this footage, man. This place, this was an arcade, man, local hood arcade. I'm literally around the corner from where I was just at. This is Broad Street in Boston, man. This was Boston Arcade. Me and my best friend growing up over here on this side of town, man. We used to come here, play these games all the time, man. We used to play games like Street Fighter 2. We used to play games like, you know, Fighter's History. Man, we had a great time being able to just walk around the corner, down the street, you know what I'm saying, and play $2-3 worth of games. Great times, man. As you can see, obviously, it's all vegetation has got it, you know, but yeah, man, definitely a good talking point, man. You know, so gaming, it's been around me a long time, a lot of time. You know, anytime I can go any place and be able to play some games, it was an enjoyable thing, an enjoyable experience for me personally as a young man. And Detroit is the type of place that had one of 4 things always on each corner. Man, Detroit is going to either have a liquor store, a Coney Island, which is a restaurant. This is not New York. You know, Coney Island is a type of restaurant in this city where, you know, you're gonna get an infamous chili dog or chili fries, American style gourmet, if you will. You know, get different varieties, breakfast all day type of, you know, situation. They got them all around the city. They got them in the suburbs too. In the suburbs, you know, they're more franchised out. They have what's called a Leo's Coney Island, but depending on the hood you in, where you at, you know, you're gonna have your favorite Coney spot. Coney is what we call it for short. So you're gonna have a liquor store, you're gonna have a Coney Island, you're gonna have a church. I'm talking about like a congregation. It could be any denomination, you know, or you're gonna have a gas station. Pretty much, you know, when you're in Detroit, you're gonna see a lot of one of the four on each particular corner in the city. Now, obviously, you know, there's the economy the way it is in this city is not in the same position. It's kind of on a comeback, if you will. I've been here. Obviously, I'm shooting this film. I'm sitting right here in Detroit right now, in the hood. But this is this was a place in your 70s, your 60s, or let's say your 70s, your 80s, your 90s, where pretty much you had small, what I'll call mom and pop businesses. Liquor stores, beer and wine stores. My granddaddy, as I said in a couple of transitions ago, he owned, if I didn't say, he owned a business. He owned a beer and wine store. He didn't have a liquor license. You know, and so, yeah, you know, east side, west side, southwest, it didn't really matter. You know, you will see one of them 4 type of situations. But this Boston Arcade, man, this was a spot we used to go to play. As I said, we lived around the corner, so it was always a good thing to be able to do that. All right, this is off topic, but this is one of my favorite Lil Durk songs, man. This song a great vibe. I'm not really a big auto-tune fan, but it's a great song. I'm actually cruising down, finna past the west side. We finna cross a street called Woodward. Woodward is it's a main street that pretty much separates Detroit from west side to east side. So right now we on the west side, and we finna cross over to the east side. Also, interestingly enough, is what we're coming here, this high school, that's Northern High School. It's high school I went to. It's a woman academy now. I don't even know if it's open, but at the time, you know, when I was a young dude here, you know, I made it. I ain't make it through nothing there, to be honest with you. After one season of ninth grade, I say one season, like 1, maybe 2 semesters, man, I was up out of there. So I wasn't able to finish out of there, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so leaving from east side to west side, this street I'm on is called Claremont, man. We take, you know, when I'm coming from my grandparents' house on the west side, take the Claremont bus to get to Northern, yeah, some good times here, man. Very good times. Yeah, man. Hopefully you guys are doing good so far, man. If you're enjoying the content so far, go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. Leave a like. I'm on a street called Holbrook right now. So as I said in the previous transition, we were on Claremont coming from the west side, right? Now we're on Holbrook. You cross, I would cross Northern. I would come from the west side, get out of school, right? I'd get on the Holbrook bus, which I'm on Holbrook right now. And this bus would take me to a point where, I'm on the east side. I'm on the east side now. Woodward is the main street that separates the east side and the west side. So this is really not like a welcome to Detroit, video, but the basis of Beyond the Gamer is for you to know beyond the gamer, right? Like, again, as I said earlier in the video, you can know about the trophies and the accomplishments and the efforts of the gamer, but I want to be able to talk to people and interview them about more than just what they did for gaming. I mean, I get that piece, but let's go a little bit further. So the reason I'm taking these bus routes is because it's taking me down memory lane. I don't live in Detroit now, obviously, and in a second, I'm going to show y'all what I mean. You probably already know from the dash, looking at the radio in the previous transition. I'm in that shaker. I drove this thing here. But high school, as I spoke about in the previous transition, Northern High School specifically. So I didn't do too good with high school because I won't say easily influenced, because I wasn't easily influenced, but I was influenced early by some of the wrong things. And it didn't work out for me, the way that it should have, at least at the time that it should have. Education is very important for a lot of different reasons. At least education at a minor level. When I say minor, I mean, a child, grade school. And I think early college is good too, at least a couple years. I think it's a great opportunity for these young adults to mentally develop. And so, at the time when I'm 13, 14, should be really focusing on books and different things like that. I'm not focused on that, man. I'm wanting to be too young, too early. And, so I got myself involved with different individuals, man, different people that were moving at a faster pace than what they should be at the age that we were. But hey, man, you live and you learn, right? But that's why my young adults, my sons specifically, they early 20s. My oldest is 21 right now, goes to college, working his first job, still lives at home. And he's going to be able to live with me until he don't need to live with me, because I understand, what it's like. And so, yeah, but high school didn't work out, man. It doesn't work out for everybody. I was actually looking at a list of millionaires that don't have high school diplomas, or that dropped out and then later, got like the general education, certificates and such like that. But yeah, man, I sure do miss some of the memories, or I cherish the memories, and I really do miss the times that I had, man, going to school and just being a young dude and in Detroit, man. Like right now, man, as I'm just looking through all these streets, like I'm impressed that I know how to move exactly through here. And that's important. That's important too. Whenever you're dealing with any type of aggression in, like I said, an urban neighborhood, man, you gotta know how to move. You gotta know how to have respect. Detroit's not one of the places that you get your head blown off just for like wearing the wrong colors, It not abroad. It's not that type of place. I can't tell you what the hell it is now, to be honest with you. I'm not tapped in at all. You know what I'm saying? But what I can tell you is that, you know, spending most of my life here, having been entrenched and involved in the streets here, you know, it was a good place, man. Fun times, you know. There's something in the air here. I'm telling you, even now, I you know, just being here now, there's just something about this place that just I'm telling you, man, it makes you move different. If you smell it the right way, you know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna make you want to hustle. It's gonna make you want to hustle, man. But I want to pull up to my old area that I'm from here on the east side and talk a little bit more. All right, man. So this is where I went to elementary school, man. It was called Catherine B. Wright's, but now it's like a woman situation or something. But that's crazy. Good times there. We're gonna ride down this road because this same road gonna take you to where your boy went to middle school, which was Cleveland Middle School. We gonna pass this. I got a dash cam too. Ironically, all three of the schools I went to is on the east side. Remember, I told you Woodward, Main Street separates east and west. So because Northern is on the same side of Woodward, it's on the east side. Cleveland and White, they down the street. So yeah, this is Cleveland Middle School, man. Great memories here. I don't know if this is still Cleveland, but my big brother, he wanted the only person I really consider a big homie. Yeah, this is some kind of academy too. So, damn, don't nothing exists the same as it used to be. Right, man. We on Davison, East Davison, 6 Mile, dog. 6 and Davison. Matter of fact, the street is considered or called technically McNichols. It's called McNichols, man. As I'm pulling up, I'm gonna flip this camera around. I'm gonna flip this around, guys. This is where I grew up. House ain't even there right there. Monart and Desner, right there where dog is cutting that grass. My mama owned a house that was there and the land that was there. So interesting, man. Interesting, you know. Like this is a whole different type of situation. Like nothing is the same that was the same, you know. But man, it's crazy. Over here it's a little different, you know. Gotta love the east side, man. It's an acquired taste, I'll tell you that for sure. It's not like, how can I describe it, man? It's just, you know, it felt more like, I don't want to say real. I'll just say it felt a little bit more shiesty over here. Just on the east in general. West side, I'm not going to say it felt more laid back. But, you know, them players over there was a lot more polished, you know. As times went on, you know, things changed where you got people migrating. The city is the city, but you know, that's why earlier in the video, now you get the context of me saying that I'm simultaneously raised on both sides of the city, which I'm personally thankful for, because I have friends, you know, that was just different. You know, I was kind of hoping that the house, which was 13514 Monart, was still there, but that mud is tore down. You know, I thought it would have been a cool talking piece to just show the house where I grew up at. Yeah, but my mama owned this house, man. It was her first house. You know, I don't know how much she bought it for, but you know, that was an accomplishment in itself. You know, my mom, she went through a whole bunch of different series of things. Yeah, speaking on my mom's, man, so we from this area over here. This is the area you would call 6th and Davidson. Typically when people talk about like what neighborhoods they grew up in, they talk about like whatever the two, they will classify them or label them based on like whatever the two main streets were. Like on the west side, I was saying Joy Road, Dexter, or Joy Road and or Grand River. Whatever the two main streets is pretty much like what you would speak on. Over here, this is the 6 Mile and Davidson area. So we stayed over here on Monarch, which was the street where the house street was. Prior to this, it was Sparling, which literally is, I want to say about 5 blocks down the way, around the corner. Literally, you could walk there, it'd probably take like 7 minutes to get there. And all this is just down the street from the elementary school, so the middle schools, all of this is in the same vicinity. This is all walking distance. So, some of my most fond memories, wintertime, it being snowing like hell, you know what I'm saying, walking to school because it ain't that far, man. But my mom's, man, one of the most crazy things I remember, I don't know how old I was, but I remember this pretty vividly. In terms of what happened, we stayed on Sparling, man. It was a guy, he was beating on the door. I don't know what time it was. It was after hours, and dog was said he was the police or something like that, but he wasn't. And he broke in, man. He was fighting my mom's. I don't know what the situation was, man. I do not know what the situation was. I remember he hit her with like a shovel or something. My mom was scrapping with this guy. And my mom's not no big female. She a little girl, you know what I'm saying? Say a little girl, but she a small woman. You feel me? And so I remember that. I remember that shit. And I mean, like that situation, like she got my respect forever, based on that. Cause like I said, even without me needing to know whatever the circumstances were, it wasn't no shit she had going on, but it was some shit that was going on. I don't know if it has something to do with one of my brothers. Man, don't let me get the line to y'all, but I know that eternally she got my respect because of that circumstance. And then I remember going to middle school the next day because my mom's face busted up, bruh. I'm talking about busted up. Like she don't look the same. She don't look like the same female to me after this happened. I remember going to school telling my principal, her name was Miss Tanaka. Mrs. Tanaka. She was married, but you little kids just say Miss Tanaka. I told Miss Tanaka, I said my mom is dead. She wasn't dead, but you know what I'm saying? She looked dead, bro. Like her face didn't look how it was supposed to look. Shit, I don't even remember if she went to the hospital, bro. Like for real, I cannot even remember. But yeah, that was one of the most crazy things that I can remember. And I know that after that, whatever play that had to go into effect, she ended up getting a house on Monarch, which is around the corner, same hood, but I mean, what are you gonna do, man? You living in poverty. My folks wasn't rich. Welfare definitely was in the rotation, but my old girl being the term for your mother, she did what she was supposed to do to make sure we were straight. And forever to this day, bro, if she needs something, that's why I make sure, my baby got what she need. And yeah. All right, man, we are literally 2 days later from me starting this spontaneous documentary interview, if you will. And I want to say that I initially intended to get my mother on camera, but I felt like it might make things a little bit more dramatic than I need them to be for what I'm trying to deliver here. So yeah, let's go ahead and start from the top with gaming, because Beyond the Gamer is really about getting the backstory first and then kind of speaking into how, the subjects that you'll see will grow and develop and go into their story about how they got into gaming. So for me, it started very, very early on, man. I can remember probably, I want to say 2 years of age. It's probably when I have my first memories just of life, really. And I know that at a very young age, I developed a keen interest in gaming, arcades specifically. And again, and I'll try to card in a photo if I can. My grandfather, he owned a beer and wine store, or party store, if you will, that sold an assortment of different snacks and beverages and lottery and things like that. You know, so he played a pivotal a part of my life into a lot of different things. And so gaming was one of them. He owned a party store. And as I said in one of the transitions earlier, in Detroit, you know, you'll find one of those on each corner, pretty much, each major corner, certainly. And so he used to have these video games in rotation. I remember there being as many as 4. The layout of the store, you walk into it and you'll see 2 cabinets and then about 8 feet, 9 feet across from there on the same wall, you'll see 2 other cabinets. Sometimes it was only 1 and 1, but you know, it was never anything like a Street Fighter. Obviously, this is early on. Street Fighter's not even a thing, but it was just the excitement of just that type of digital content. I think that gaming for me, I hold it so near and dear because of the feeling and the memories that I have of going to the store. When I go to the store, the arcades had the attraction mode, right? So you can hear them even when they were not being played. You can hear the sound effects, the music, and everything. And so I always associated that with going to my grandfather's store, and in terms seeing my grandfather, because he would always be there a lot, majority of the day at least, as far as I remembered, him and my father. But you know, it was a very exciting time, you know, playing games and just, you know, living in that atmosphere. So that's where things started for me a lot earlier. And the circumstances a lot different from a lot of people. A lot of people are not going to have, their story is going to be, oh, I had a Nintendo and I had a Genesis, or, you know, I had whatever. Mine was, I had arcades. We had legitimate arcades. So, you know, that's what makes me so old school with this damn thing. So in a generic form factor, like a lot of other young children, I was in a position where, you know, I grew up pretty much having virtually every console that ever existed. That mattered, either myself or, you know, having first cousins that were similar in age or close in age, younger than me, but, you know, close enough in age where, you know, we were able to have either they got or I got multiple and they got, you know, and so it was great. You know, gaming turned extremely competitive very early on for me, though. I would say about as early as like 89, 88, there is was at least a franchise, a chain called Major Magic, similar to like a Chuck E. Cheese. Now, if you're in the United States, you probably are familiar with Chuck E. Cheese. If you're seeing this and you're somewhere else in the world, it pretty much is an attraction spot for children or young adults, a place where you would have parties. They provide services such as like pizza, you know, salads and things like that. They have a lot of arcade games and a lot of, I would say, like carnival games, right? You know, just different type of attractions inside of a building where you can go and you can have a good time, and even having like a robotic musical band that, you know, moves and makes, you know, sounds and things like that. It was just really weird, but it was a place that you know, I would go regular. My parents, grandparents would plan for me to go to like a Major Magic's, Chuck E. Cheese, and then Major Magic's. Major Magic's was like the Burger King of Chuck E. Cheese being the McDonald's, you know what I mean? Similar flavor, but, you know, Burger King, well, back in the day at least, offered you some different types of I don't know, the same menu. You know, your nuggets at McDonald's are pretty bland. Your nuggets at Burger King got a little bit of spice to them. You know what I mean? So Major Magic's was similar to Chuck E. Cheese, but better. The way it was better was that, in my opinion, they had more mature games. You know, Chuck E. Cheese wouldn't have as many of the fighting games, and so, you know, Major Magic is where I first got an opportunity to play Street Fighter. And so, man, that absolutely, let me tell you, it absolutely changed my life. I'm talking about, you know, you ever heard the saying like love at first sight? It was absolutely love at first sight. Okay. So my first run in with Street Fighter was 88 or 89. I can't remember. I'm born in the month of July 5th to be specific. And so, you know, it was a birthday time, and I was used to going to these types of places. But, you know, we went to the Major Magic, and it was just like, I seen this machine, and let me tell you that it just stood out because you have the traditional stick to move your character, but it has sensor buttons. Those sensor buttons were absolutely magical, in my opinion. You know what I mean? It was just like, it was like innovation, you know, very cool in the sense that, you know, you could hit a button, and it, you know, depending on how much pressure you applied, was the level of density that you were going to get from your attack. And it's very, very not easy to play too. Street Fighter 1 was extremely difficult. The game ran at a really weird frame rate, and the pixelation and the designs were just wonky, but it was cool at the time, you know. And it was just something that I'll never forget what the experience was like initially, seeing that franchise for the first time. It was just magic. That's all. It literally put me in a place where, you know, I just wanted more, right? And so obviously Street Fighter 2, when it debuted, it was an absolute sensation. I felt like, following off of the momentum of, you know, the sensor button foolishness that they had, it stapled itself as something that even to today is what you would want out of a fighting game. At that time, though, you know, it furthered my development in a competitive aspect. You know, what I really got from Street Fighter 2 as a holistic series was the desire to want to be better in life, honestly. Like, you know, a lot of people tend to think video games are just like a foolish pastime. We see now that you can make millions of dollars playing video games. I mean, be it from content creating and things like that. But let's just step aside from that. Like, just looking at, you know, to me, what is intended, right, to be received from it. You know, playing Street Fighter is very much so like playing chess. It is mental on so many levels, right? Physical on so many levels, right? It's just the level of detail and dexterity and just everything that you need to be successful in winning and being consistent and being innovative. It's just really, really marvelous. And so when you factor that in with a young kid from Detroit, the type of energy that we have, and, you know, listening to what I told you earlier in this video, how the city is structured, you know, you would find different stores, party stores, gas stations, Coney Islands, right? In different parts of different hoods all around the city, east side, west side, all the same. You know, you have a machine posted somewhere. There's somewhere you're going to find yourself a Street Fighter 2 or a Street Fighter 2 Champ Edition or a Street Fighter 2 Turbo machine. And you're bound, depending on the day and the time, you're bound to see 5-6 people's posted there, putting their quarters up, you know, playing. And so that energy was just something like I had never seen. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, like, this is really what kind of put me in a weird place. So just backing up a little bit, you know, I'm not the most social person. I would consider myself to be antisocial. You know, if it's business and I know that I need to, you know, interact with people, I will do so. You know, but if I'm not having a conversation with the intentions of executing something, education, I'm teaching you, you're teaching me or something, I'm not the guy to randomly just talk to. And we're talking about me growing up, being young. I found myself being angry for, I don't even know why, man. You know, I had a lot of different things just bothering me, demons, if you will. But now that I think about it, with all the technology and education that we have, maybe I was dealing with some mental depression, or I don't know, man. You know, life wasn't hard, but it wasn't easy. You know, but playing Street Fighter, it helped me to mold myself into a better person, because what I did was it gave me what school couldn't give me, right? Because I was interested in the accomplishments that I would get out of getting better with it. With school, I couldn't understand why I needed to learn algebra. I'm just sharing that as an example. You know, why I needed to learn all of these different lessons in history. And it was like, You know, I don't know. To me, it never made sense. It never made sense. Like, even now when I speak to my children, I set a standard for my sons and I'll say my daughters. I set a standard for them. I tell them, you know, there's a certain average of a grade you should be getting, but ultimately it comes down to you being able to understand what you're learning and what you can get from that and how you can apply that going forward. I couldn't get that with school. I couldn't understand it. I understood that I needed to get good grades and I needed to follow this flow in a system where I needed to get good grades so I can try to get a good job, so I can try to be good in life. That didn't work for me. I wanted to hustle. I wanted to get my money fast. And I wanted to play Street Fighter. I didn't want to play Street Fighter because it was lazy. I didn't want to play Street Fighter because it was a video game. I wanted to play Street Fighter because it was education. It was teaching me how to work on my mental skills. It was teaching me how to be better than the next person, right? It was teaching me how to advance. I'm telling you, like, so when I talk to parents even today, just like in my personal and professional life, and I'm talking to them about their children playing video games and they're telling me things like, man, look, you know, games are a waste of time. I'm like, no, you are crazy. Gaming is not a waste of time. You have to figure out what the child is getting from gaming. So it's very interesting. I thought I would share that to let you guys know, like, there was so much that I was getting from this. There's so much filler content in here. I don't want to over talk you guys, but man, I had in my opinion, an illustrious run with playing video games, going to tournaments, developing some of the better players that came out of the part of country that I'm from. And so, you know, winning tournaments, attending tournaments, hosting sessions, training individuals, man, I'm talking about, you know, creating content. You know, it's a lot that came with it, man. I really want to dive a little bit deeper into my roots from where I am from a gaming perspective, because there is a lot of men and some women that share my same story, same passion. Some of the things that I'm talking about, they're going to be able to resonate with. They're going to be able to hear me talking about this, and they're going to understand exactly what I mean. But the whole point of this video is to introduce you to what Beyond the Gamer is about. And I hope that me taking you through the city and having the conversations that I've had with you have opened you up to considering to support that content going forward. I do realize, you know, YouTube is a place where you have to study your analytics and you've got to work hard to try to get an audience to, you know, gravitate towards different content, right? But if you like this, trust me, guys, there's a lot of people out here that's got a story similar to mine. And even if you're a director or a content creator yourself, please look into, you know, giving us more real and more consistency, because that's really what I'm trying to do. So I'd encourage you and will invite you again to watch the interviews that I posted, both with Brian James and Dayasha. I shot them and put them up on the channel as clips, and then ultimately I ended up putting the entire video together for you to be able to see it. But this is what I've got. It's for me. This is a small taste. If you guys feel like you need more, let me know, because I do have a documentary around some of the arcades that are in Detroit that I do plan on creating going forward. I wanted to shop that idea around as well as Beyond the Gamer. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Show some support, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't. If you have subscribed, hit that notification bell so you can get tapped in. For my multimedia people out there, guys, I'm like literally awaiting delivery for the Sony Alpha 95K, and we've got more TV content review coming up. So I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one. Peace, God bless, max love.